Sudbury School Gent started in September 2010. It's a school where students are free to explore their own interests and passions in a safe environment. There are no mandatory classes, and children ages 4 to 18 are free to interact with one another and with adults. Students and adults have an equal say in the way their school is governed. The freedom and trust they get at the school gives them the opportunity to take responsibility for their own life and actions. The school aims to provide its students with a rich and stimulating environment in which self-driven learning can flourish.
Mr. JC.
People come together to solve conflicts. So everyone in the school can put a charge at someone, if that's the word. And then people at the GC, they try to solve the conflict. And everyone is heard, and then they ask everyone, does everyone agree with the statement? And you have to raise your hands. And this way everyone is listened to. And also the interesting thing is a kid can just say to an adult, I don't like this thing you're doing, or there's no hierarchical structure in this. And the people who are in the GC, they are constantly changing, so everyone in the school has got some periods he has to help with the GC, and this way everyone learns how difficult it can sometimes be to really solve a conflict and to listen to everyone, and that there's not one solution. And one interesting thing too is that you don't always find solutions, but just the fact that everyone is really listened to solves the conflict already. So you get the feeling you're listened to, and that it's not just happening and you can't do anything about it. It's really nice. I think everyone learns, and especially children, that there's a whole lot more information you can't just see behind everyone's actions. And solving conflicts is important and difficult.
So what we did do now, it was a GC, juridical committee, and that's where if people break rules, we can write it down on a complaint, and then the GC is coming together, and we just listen to everybody, like what happened, did they really broke a rule, and what are we gonna do about it?
They were very loud yesterday, and somebody told them they were being too loud, and they kept on making a lot of noise, so we discussed it, and they agreed that they were really hectic. So we decided that as like a compensation today, when he feels it, he needs to go outside and let all the energy go outside where it's not annoying other people. I created the school probably because I thought there was another way to do school. I mean, I think in Belgium a lot of schools are set up in a similar way. They're all very much alike. And I discovered and I learned that school could be totally different as well. And there wasn't any school like that in Belgium, so I thought we should start a school like that. Mainly because I saw that the children really benefit from it. And because I think, to put more emphasis on learning, that it can be more like a part of life, can be more fun as well, instead of something people don't like to do. Yeah. If you look at society, ages are all mixed, and I think children can learn from children that are slightly older or even a lot older, but also the other way around. Like older children learn a lot from young children, how persistent they are and how they go about their interests. So we learn a lot from each other. Also, we learn a lot, I think, empathy as well. We see that a lot of older children become very empathic, very understanding, and they learn a lot from that as well. And I think it's a really good thing to have. Also, in our school, children are free to interact with adults on an equal base. And you see that they really ask adults for help and things that they want to know. I think competition is sometimes useful to challenge you. And what we see is that we don't install the competition in our school. There's no age grades, there's no measures that they have to reach at a certain age. And because of that, we see that they're talking to one another to figure out what talent have you got and can you help me with that. So the attitude that we've got is that people are very helpful and asking help from others. And they do sometimes enter like a math contest, and that is mainly to challenge themselves. And I think competition in that way is a good thing if you want to challenge yourself. But competition as a base for education is destroying a lot, and it's making a lot of people unhappy. So that's why it's definitely not the base, but something that they choose themselves if they want to.
Don't learn like with a map and like paper and stuff. We just learn by doing things that we normally can't do. Like if you do something and it's not right, then you can. That's what you see. You can do klachten, and then you learn things of doing. Don't do bad things. But if you do a bad thing by accident, then you learn that you can't do that.
I think one thing students learn here today and every day is how am I gonna fill my day? What am I gonna do with my life? And I think they are allowed to be part of that from a very young age. So that means that every day they have to think about what they want to do. And with young students who've been in our school like forever, they just go about their day, they follow their passions, they follow their dreams. So it's very normal for them. Sometimes they forget to eat, and they only eat at the end of the day when they go home. And they realize like, oh, I haven't eaten, or I didn't drink a lot. And by experiencing this themselves, they get a lot of knowledge. They get to know that, oh, if I don't drink during the day, I might get a headache. Or if I don't eat, I get hungry, but I can eat later, but then I might not want to eat dinner anymore. So they learn to regulate their own bodies and their own lives. And I think it's really important to start that from a very early age, because if you don't learn that, and I think you're 18 or 20, and nobody's holding your hand anymore, you fall into a gap. What's my passion? What interests me? They're really big questions that drive people, and I think it's really important that from an early age you learn to deal with that. You learn to deal with being bored as well. If you're bored, okay, what are you going to do if you're bored? How are you going to deal with it? It might strike an insight like, oh, I might do this or that, or you might become passionate about something you see other people do. So self-regulating your own life, I think, is a very important thing, because you become a really strong person. You get to know yourself very well, and you get to, you become a really independent, strong person. So I think it's really important to have the power to regulate your own life. If you give children responsibility and freedom and a say in making the rules, the amazing thing, what you see, is that they take up the responsibility. They are willing to listen to other people, and they're willing to participate on making your community a community that's a really nice place for everybody.